So good afternoon from Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, ISRO, Dehradun. Dear participant of e-ITech course and the participant of our 85th outreach program on basics of remote sensing GI and GIS, and also for the 84th program on basics of remote sensing and image processing. So today we have a session on open source data and international geoportals for satellite data download. This topic we kept basically for the participant, especially those are interested to do their hands-on exercise on the satellite imageries. Here, what I will do, I will spend some time on the basic concept of data sharing in this remote sensing and GIS community. And then I will give you the examples of various repositories, that is for satellite imageries and GIS data, which are available either as a open or freeware product or as a commercial product. So I will start my session now with this brief introduction. As you are aware that the data and information access from web portals or online data repositories. Basically, when we are accessing the data from the online repositories, today there are three popular methods are existing. It is not about only the Geoportals or GIS-based portal or portal related to remote sensing data. It is also applicable for all kind of data, either it is any attribute data or sometimes image data, audio, video data. So there are popular methods, like one is called traditional data sharing method. In this method, generally what you do, you download the data physically into your computer. So when I say the physically, that means either you will be using the HTTP protocol or FTP protocol, and you will be going to this URL, and then you will download the data into your local computer. That is a traditional method of data sharing. So what is happening here in this traditional method of data sharing, you need a good quality of internet speed, and same time you need a good data storage capability into your computer. So in this kind of environment, when you access the large data repositories, like you take the example of from the ISRO or from the NASA or ESA, European Space Agency, if you are interested to download the satellite data from the repositories, so many times you are not aware how much data really available there. And in fact, the size of data also is a concern. Sometimes data size is around in GB, sometimes it is also in the TB. So if your computer is not having that much space, then it is very difficult to use this data. But still, this mode of traditional data sharing is very popular. And most of the time, users are interested to physically download the data into their local computer. This is one method of data access. But second method, which is very popular, is called data access through the web services or APIs. So what is this web services and API? These are also a method of data information sharing into the internet platform. So what you can do here in this platform, you can access data as a URL, as a web URL, and directly you can use this data into your software. And after using this data, you can download the output into your local computer. So here two methods are there. One is called web services, second is called API. Maybe in coming time, we'll be teaching you what is web services, what is API. But at this moment, you can note down that web services and APIs, or APIs are application programming interface. These are also known as a mode of data access from the online data repositories. The example of this APIs you can see in the Google Earth Engine or maybe Google Maps, whatever are available. You can access these maps or these data sets as a API. But Google doesn't allow you to download or physically download this data into your computer. But still, you are able to use this data with this full capability. And then you can use this data for all kinds of scientific studies, or sometimes you can also use this data for your planning activities. So these methods are very effective, but advantage of these methods are you are not transferring physically data from the server to the client. So here, sometime your low bandwidth kind environments or low computation devices are also capable to use this data for your own applications. So here, physical data transfer is not there. So as per your requirement, data will be accessed as a API or a web services, then you will start the consuming the data. So here, when you say the data repositories, these data repositories are either stored as a central system or central repository, or sometimes these are also available as a distributed data servers. When it is central repository, that means everything is available in a single server, and you are simply hitting to the server and downloading the data. But of course, here in this kind of environment, sometimes you face the some data performance issue. So you may not get the appropriate performance of the data while you are accessing data as a physical download or as a API or web services. But another method which is very popular these days called as a distributed data services, where the data is distributed among the different servers. Sometimes it is available in the same location, otherwise it can be distributed in the different geographical locations also. So when you do this kind of data sharing, another technology which is very, very popular these days is called cloud-based computation architecture. So where the computer clouds are allowing you to host your data and also to share your data through these platforms, and cloud computations are becoming very popular in data sharing environment. So now, next important point is in the geospatial domain, where we are discussing, which domain we are discussing in this course is on the remote sensing and GIS. So here our data is slightly different than normal attribute data or non-spatial data. So when I say the attribute data, most of the time this data is available either as a web application, or sometimes it's available as a spreadsheet or textual data, sometimes as a document data, or you'll be simply downloading it and you'll be using it. But here in case of geospatial tech domain or remote sensing or GIS domain, here you must be now knowing about the different data models like raster and vector data models. In this raster model, like in the satellite imageries, you have these satellite imageries in the form of .img file, .tif file, or maybe some geotif file. And another vector data is like a shape file, or maybe sometime the PostGIS data or geodatabase. Maybe in coming module, we'll be studying about it, this vector data model in more details. But the vector and raster, these are the two data models which are very popular. And if you talk about the satellite imageries, most of the time these are the raster data. But when you serve this raster data to the users, then we have a very important server product here called as a GIS server, or sometimes we also call it as a map server. So these GIS servers are capable to provide your data as a mapping or visualization system, as a data services, or data for editing. In fact, on the fly, you can perform the editing of this data, like you can generate the vector data sets. You can also modify sometimes the rasters in the simple browser or web browser environment. You can also do the geoprocessing on the fly today. These servers are having this capability. When I say the geoprocessing on the fly, that is something like, suppose some satellite imagery is available from the online repository of NASA, or something is available from ISRO. So both the data you can access on the fly in the cloud, and then you can run your algorithm. You can process this data like an arithmetic operation you can apply as per the raster concern. And same time, you can also perform the overlay analysis. In coming time in this course, we'll be discussing more about the geoprocessing technique. But today, you just keep in mind that there is something called GIS server or map server, which are basically allowing us to do a lot of data analytics, lot of data handling and data visualization system in the web platforms. There is one important point here. There is one organization called Open Geospatial Consortium, or we call it OGC. Basically, this is a non-profit organization. They developed the standard for geospatial web services. That is basically about how the data can be shared in the public domain, because their objective is to basically achieve the interoperability between the different type of data sets. Suppose you take the example of NASA. Suppose NASA has launched some space mission, and some data they are acquiring in some proprietary data models, because most of the time these missions are very critical natures, and the host organizations or basically the owner of these satellites, they have their specific data model to store the data for the protection purpose, for privacy and security purpose. But OGC says that whatever model or whatever data model you adopt for your data reception or data storage purpose, fine. But when you publish this data to public or share this data to public, it should be interoperable. What does it mean? It means that data from NASA should be able to talk to the data from the ISRO. So that means it should be compatible data. So OGC developed the standard for that, and there are different type of standard available today. Around 50 plus such standards are available for different type of data in the geospatial community. Maybe we'll be discussing more about these standard in coming time. But here, OGC standard, if you see, this is a big chart here, you can see here. So as per the satellite data is concerned, we have one standard called WCS, Web Coverage Service. So today we'll take the example of WCS only. So this is a very, very popular method. By using these standards, you can access the satellite imagery as a data service into your own remote sensing and GIS software. And you can process this data on the fly, and further you can analyze the data as per your requirement. Similarly, for the vector, they have the standard for the attributes, for sensor data. They have the standard for other type of data set as well. Like they have like a KML, GML, all these standards. But as of now, you just make a note here that for the satellite data, which is a raster data, there is something called WCS standard, which is very popular. Now, if you come to the repositories, that's all about data standard. You are very much aware about this raster data format like TIFF format, GeoTIFF format, IMG format. In case of vector, it is a save file. But in case of web service API, now I introduce you the service called WCS, which is very popular for the web service standard for the satellite imageries, because it is a raster, but same standard can be used for the map as well, wherever your data model is raster for the map. Now come to the data repositories, which are very popular these days in the internet. So we'll start from popular geoportals you may be using, like a Google Maps. Very popular geoportal. It is giving you the global satellite images and maps in the 2D and 3D domain at the street level with the various applications. So what is the advantage of Google is you can definitely visualize the data. And when you are visualizing this data, same time you can also do some analytics on this data set, because Google publish their APIs, that is called Application Programming Interface. If you learn how to use this API, you can also build your own application on top of Google Maps, and then you can launch this application either as a freeware, or you can also make the money out of these maps. But this is a very popular platforms worldwide. They have data sets, and their strength is 2D and 3D data, especially on the satellite imagery. Another important portal which is very popular is called Bing Map, that is from Microsoft. They have the global satellite imageries and maps on the road and point of interest. And here they use one terminology called aerial view. So when they say the aerial view, it doesn't mean they are giving the aerial data. Sometimes they may be giving the aerial data as well, but most of the time they are basically providing data as a satellite imagery from the different space agencies. If you take example of Google or Bing, both are not a space agencies. They are software companies, and they are basically taking the data from the space agencies, and they are processing data and hosting to their cloud and giving services to their users. Another important source or data repositories or portal is called the OpenStreetMap. This is a very interesting portal developed by basically a gentleman from UK, United Kingdom. That is name is Steve Coast. Sometime in 2004 he has started this project, and today it is a non-profit organization, and they are basically trying to build the vector data, open and free vector data for entire globe in the collaborative mapping mode. In collaboration, basically by involving the citizen itself, they are creating the data and they are making available through this portal. And today they have around more than 250 map features mapped on top of the satellite imageries, and you can easily download this data into a local computer as a vector data. So they have around 1:10,000 scale maps, and at the same time they also provide facility to do the mapping itself in their website. Next is a Wikimapia. It is again a crowdsourcing approach for tagging the ground information on top of the satellite imageries. It is like a wiki concept. You may be knowing about it. In the Wikipedia, you know that you can create your own contents. You can modify the contents of others. It's like a democratic way of generating information. The same thing is applicable for Wikimapia. Here, you can use the crowdsourcing approach for the geotagging of different ground information. That is another platform. From ISRO side, we have a website or portal called ISRO Bhuvan. And this is a very interesting website developed by ISRO. Today, we are basically hosting around 30 terabyte of data in public domain, which is completely freely available to the users. And it is a rich contents and seamless availability of multi-temporal, multi-resolution satellite data for entire Indian regions. Right now, it is restricted to India, where we are basically providing a lot of information related to our country. But at the same time, in some of the specific cases, like disasters, we also provide the data information for different neighboring countries, especially from the SAARC, Asia Pacific, African countries. So a lot of data free of cost ISRO is providing through this portal. If you have interest, you can always visit this website and you can see what kind of data ISRO is providing. So here, being a space agency, we are definitely providing the data from our satellites like AVIP sensors, LIS-3, or maybe now we are planning to put data from the LIS-4 as well. But in the same time, ISRO also is providing the thematic data on the various themes like land use, land cover, agricultures, geological related information like geomorphological, lineament informations. We have wetland information, vegetation type. In fact, we also provide data on the different disasters, especially on the natural disasters. So right now we focus on the 6 natural disasters. So data and information services are available from this portal. This slide is basically for our student under this distance learning program of 85th and 84th program. Basically, if you talk about the India-specific geoportals, there is something called Map My India. This portal is basically available in the commercial domain mode. So if you are interested to get the rich point of interest data and detailed maps of India, then you can visit this website. Indian NSGI is a initiative of Department of Science and Technology, where a lot of data is and plus metadata is organized in a gateway. So here you can search for appropriate data. Then second is a biodiversity information system, where the bioresource data of India, especially on the biological richness, vegetation type, disturbance index, and forest fragmentation, data sets are available in this website called biodiversity information system. Then we have a very interesting initiative by Department of Biotechnology and Department of Space itself. That is basically we are working to develop a special data infrastructure on the bioresource of India. So here we have the different data providers. Basically in India, those are basically providing data on the flora and fauna. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to develop a platform where basically all the data sets are available to the users, not only for access and download, but same time for analysis purpose also. You do not require any specific software. Right away, you can come to the IBIN website and you can do a lot of data analytics here and like special modeling and all these activities. For the water resource related informations, India is having very interesting portal called India Water Resource Information System, or we call it the India WRIS. It is a rich data contents for water resource of India. In fact, last 100-year data is compiled and available to the users free of cost. You can access this data from this website. National Informatics Center, or NIC, is also trying to develop a very interesting portal called Bharat Map, and it's a village level tagging of the information on the GIS domain, like the demographic data is available in this portal. Now let us come to the next important repository, which is also called as satellite imageries and thematic maps, especially for the international users. The participants, those are coming from this ITech course. Now I would like to show you the important repositories, and definitely it will be available as just study material also. You can always refer these slides for your future references. I will start from a very important repository called USGS Earth Explorer. And this is one of the most popular data repository for the remote sensing users. It land view like set and the space satellite like Corona missions. It was a very old mission, but now what they did, they opened this Corona data also to the public for their study. Hyperspectral data from the Hyperion mission of NASA. These are the major highlights or uniqueness of this portal. Although USGS provide a lot of data from the other space mission as well, like Sentinel missions. In fact, they have the data from the NOAA. They have the data from the JAXA and also from ISRO. But the uniqueness of the portal is that they have the Landsat and the Corona mission data and hyperspectral data hyper from the NASA. And this is a URL of the website, and it has the global coverage. Next important repository is called Sentinel Open Access Hub. This is a very, very popular data repository of the satellite data, completely free. In fact, USGS data also is free of cost available to the users. And Sentinel-2 data provide high-resolution latest satellite imagery of the world. And Sentinel-2 is basically a 10-meter resolution data, 10-meter spatial resolution satellite imagery in the red, green, blue, and near-infrared band. The 4 bands are available. It has that 12 spectral band range from the coastal to swirl band, and Sentinel-1 is C-band SAR data. So this is a very important data repository as far as satellite imagery is concerned, where data in the optical region and also in the microwave region is available from this particular data repository. So this is a URL of this website, and it is available for global coverage. So most attractive part of this data repository is every 10 days, you can get the latest satellite imagery on 10-meter spatial resolution. So very, very interesting things, and you can always look for it, and you can download this data. Next important repository is NASA Earth Data Search. And this repository provides Earth science data discovery system. So here, 2 type of data sets are mode are there. One is a derived data from the biosphere, cryosphere, hydrosphere, or atmosphere. Most products come from the data and application center called DAC. So from this centers, they are providing the derived data, and some data is direct observation and some data is from the model driven data sets. Then they have the land cover data, an excellent source of global land use and land cover data. It has the specialized satellite derived data like permafrost and wetland type. And if you are interested on this kind of data sets, you can visit this website called NASA Earth Data Search. This is the URL of the website. And of course, they provide the global coverage of the data. Another data repository is called NOAA Data Access Viewer. And this is a source of authoritative data sets along the coast. And NOAA Data Access Viewer holds satellite, aerial, and LiDAR imageries. In fact, not for entire globe, but LiDAR imageries for some of the areas, especially in the US, Canada, and all are available. And it's very interesting if you are a researcher or a student or learners for this technology of this LiDAR technology, and so you can get data from here and you can do your own experiments. In fact, most of the time, the scientists working on this climate-related studies, they are looking for the data from the NOAA Data Access Viewer. I have included 2 commercial provider as well here. Is called Digital Globe Open Data Programs and Geo-Airbus Defense System. So if you take the example of Digital Globe Open Data Program, so for the student or especially researcher, those are basically learning this technology or remote sensing and GIS, for them, just I have included here, for any natural disasters, Digital Globe provides satellite imagery for relief in the open domain under the Creative Commons 4.0 license. So what does it mean? So whenever any disasters is hit by any disaster happens in any region of the world, especially the mega disasters, what Digital Globe do, they basically acquire the very high resolution satellite imagery, maybe sometime data from the world view or kind of satellites where you have the observation into 50 centimeter kind of spatial resolution. So that time they provide the very high resolution satellite imagery free of cost under this open data programs, under this common creative license. And still you can search this data, you can download. And if you are learning how to process the high resolution satellite imageries or data sets, you can do a lot of experiment with this open data programs of the Digital Globe. Another things what Digital Globe is providing is a sample data. If you want to simply experiment and try downloading from their sample imageries. For example, it has the building footprints, elevations, stereo, and true color imageries. And this basically for the students. Those are learning this image processing and remote sensing technology. Most of the time, the high resolution satellite imageries are not available free of cost. But here for learning purpose, it is a very, very good platforms, and I hope it will be very useful for you. So this is their URL, and they have the limited data access. So another commercial data provider is called IIRS Defense. They are also selling the satellite imageries from their online data repositories on cost basis, but at the same time, they have the collection of sample imageries from satellite like Spot, Predis, and Rapid Eye. These are some of the best in class. If you take the example of the Predis and the Rapid Eye data sets, in fact, they are one of the best satellite which are giving the very, very high resolution imagery of the Earth surface. Of course, you can see these data as a sample, and what I understand, yesterday I was trying to visit their website, around 140 data sets are freely available from this Geo-Air-based defense portal. So this is their website. Next is a NASA World View. This is also a very interesting data repositories where the good for the downloading raw data and providing access to the variety of specific product. Earlier, the NASA repository like Earth Explorer, I was just discussing about it, was basically on the process data. That is basically whenever data was acquired by the satellite, they do their basic radiometry and geometrical corrections, and after that they upload this data into the portal. But in case of this NASA World View, if you are a researcher or student and you want to understand how this the raw data looks like and how I can learn to process the raw data to make it a like a georeference product or geocoded product. So that time you can use this raw data repositories and you can download for your exercise and experiment. That is uniqueness of NASA World View. That's the only unique point I have highlighted in my point slide. So this is the URL of the website, and they have the global coverage of this raw data product. Another important data repository is called NOAA Class. This is a library of satellite imagery which is known as a comprehensive large array data stewardship system, or called the class. So this is a nomenclature of this class. So what they're providing data on the oceanic imageries and atmospheric imageries and the environmental and climate. And this is a very interesting data repositories. If you are a climate scientist or climate change, if you are doing studies, so that time you may look for this kind of data. They have a repository called Coast Watch. It's a collection of measurements such as wind, temperatures, and color. The source of the satellites are from the JSON, POIS, and the GEOS. So this is a polar satellite, basically on environment studies, and this is geostationary satellite for environmental studies. Very popular satellites, and these data sets are available from this oceanic imageries. Atmospheric imageries are like a GEO-ES-R is the most advanced fleet of the weather satellite, and these data sets are available from NOAA Class. So environment and climate, if you talk about it, the products cover from the ozone to aerosol. So these are the some important parameters if you are trying to understand or trying to study the atmosphere. So that time, this point of view, these data sets you can download from this website. And they have the global coverage, and this is the URL of the website called the class.noaa.gov. Another website in this list comes from, again, ISRO. As per the satellite data is concerned, you know that we have a very, very vibrant space program as per the Earth observation is concerned. So what ISRO is providing, basically we are providing our satellite imageries from the resource set 1 satellite, resource set 2 satellite, and we also provide satellite imagery from our own hyperspectral mission on the experimental basis what we did in 2007-8 onward, time periods, HISIS data. And then we have the data from IMS satellite, that was again a experimental satellite, and plus of course the resource set 1 and resource set 2, we have the data from AVIP sensor, that is around 56 meter spatial resolution. Then we are also providing data on the 23.5 meter spatial resolution, and last 2004 onward, all these data sets are available in this website. You can download physically into your local computers, but at the same time the data also can be accessed through as a web service called WCS, what I was discussing in my slide. Next geo repository is called EXA Global ALOS 3D World. Very, very popular data set as per the terrain data is concerned. From the JAXA site, it was launched in ALOS World 3D. is a 30-meter spatial resolution digital surface model, or we call it DSM. It uses the advanced land observing satellite called Daiichi, which is a type of L-band radar from the JAXA. And from this mission, they have basically generated the 3D view of the Earth, and this data is available as a DSM. And in fact, it is considered as one of the best data available as per the terrain data is concerned. So this is the website URL, and they have the coverage for entire globe. Then we have the NOAA, the Beto Vision. This is again a basically website which offers the Proba V and spot vegetation and METOP as a free satellite imagery. And these coarse resolution satellites carve out the vegetation patterns across the Earth's surface. And this is also very interesting, but here most of the time the data is very coarse resolution, but their coverage is very nice. That's why I've included this in my list. So NOAA Digital Coast is another basically data repository which provide the digital coast was developed to meet the unique need of the coastal management community. And the website provide not only coastal data, but also the tools, training, and information needed to make these data truly useful. So whatever data they are providing through this website or repository called NOAA Digital Coast, but at the same time, they are also trying to develop some tools or some technologies, and these tools are also available for download for purpose as a software product. And if you are looking for training, this facility also available into their website. Satellite land cover is also very popular in the remote sensing community for the global land cover data source from the Landsat mission, MODIS, and the ABHRR. It basically includes vegetation, geological, agriculture, hydrological, and the urban areas. And these maps are available. And these are the basically satellite-derived land cover maps. And these maps you can download. Of course, their scale is in the million scale. Sometime maybe 1:50,000 or 250,000 scale data, so maybe available there. But if you are looking for a repository where maps are available, then you can go for satellite land cover repository again from the NASA. Then we have a program called UNA BCO. This is for University Navistar Consortium. Here it's a consortium of universities, basically academia. They are basically providing data attributions that is called attribute data, GPS and GNS data, SAR data, LIDAR data, and the strain and the seismic data, topography data, and the web services for the basically for research purpose. So most of the products available in this website are basically on the experimental basis, but they have the global coverage. And freely data you can download, or maybe you can access data as a API or web service. So this is all about satellite images. So you know that satellite imagery, whatever I have listed here, around 14 major popular portals. Most of these portals are providing data free of cost to the public domain. But two portals or repositories, what I have highlighted from the digital globe and the Airbus, from Airbus, Geo-Airbus Defense. These are the two basically repositories from where you can also purchase data. Of course, from ISRO also you can purchase data, but whatever I have highlighted in this slide, it is basically open data. But in Bhuvan we have a another link there from where you can also buy the data, high resolution data, or you can also ask for a specific date or specific region. You can place an order and you can download the data as a FTP. This feature also is available. Now, next component part of my presentation is on the OpenGIS data sources. Right now, whatever I discussed, it was about the satellite images, but now I'm going to show you some slides where I'll be discussing about the maps and GIS data. So one data repository which is very popular, which is from ISRO. You may be knowing now the name of the ISRO. These are the software company. Basically, they are the developer of GIS software called ArcGIS, and they have a open data hub. They call it the ISRO Open Data Hub, and today they are providing around 250,000 plus open data sets from the over around 5,000 plus countries, organizations worldwide. And you can download the data from the ISRO Open Data Hub as a spreadsheet like that is called like a XLS or CSV format, KML format, or also save file format. These are the supported format as per the maps are concerned. If you're looking for accessing their data in the API or web service format, so these are the standards what they are providing. They have the API, application programming interface. By using the Python or any standard programming language, you can access the data as API. Same time, if you are looking for data as a visualization services, all the WMS are freely available from the ISRO Open Data Hub. And GeoJSON and GeoServices. GeoService is again a standard from ISRO, especially for their RGS platform. So you can also access this data as a GeoService. So these are the methods which you can use. You know that here I told you around 250,000 plus open data sets. In fact, if you adopt or you opt for the physical data download, you cannot download all these data sets into your local computer, into a laptop, or in your desktop, because that much space may not be there. But they have the chance, or they have given the chance to access the data as API and web service. That is a good point here. So this is the URL of this repository. Next repository, what I have included here is on natural earth data. It is supported by North American Cartography Information Society, or we call it NACIS, and they provide cultural, physical, and raster data sets as a base map, and a quick start kit as a MXG and QGIS file. So you know that when you are working in the GIS platform, so these are the document files of the two popular software called Quantum GIS and ArcGIS. So they also provide ready to use MXG file along with these data sets. Basically, it will be useful for the student to understand how to open this data, how to basically visualize this data, how to use the symbology into the Quantum GIS and ArcGIS. So this feature also is available. This is a URL of the website, and they provide the global coverage. OpenStreetMap, I have discussed in my beginning of my slides itself when I was talking about the Geoportal. But again, I have included this here into my detailed presentation because I feel that this is one of the largest GIS data repository in the world, where the vector data, especially the maps, are available free of cost for entire globe. So you can download the road network, you can download the drainage, you can download the thematic map, like a forest map, you can download different boundaries, your infrastructure layers, settlement locations, in fact, different amenities. You can also download the location information of your nearby shopping centers, the cultural sites, hospitals, school, all this information from the site. And here the detailed free GIS data with different level of accuracy, and they provide the complete data sometime, but since project is still on, if data is not complete, they provide the opportunity to the users so that they can log into the system and they can create their own data in the OpenStreet platform. And once you complete your mapping activities there, then you can also download the copy of this data into your local computer. They have the high spatial resolution cultural vector data such as buildings, road, waterways, and all. These are around 250 such map features which are available in this OpenStreetMap. So these are the URL. In this case, I have included two URL here. One is called openstreetmap.org. Here you can visualize the maps. You can do the mapping activity. You can download the data as XML, although their name is .osm file. But this OSM you can convert as a save file in later stage by using QGIS. But they also have a cloud called the GeoFabric Cloud. If you are really looking for the physical download of this data from this domain called OpenStreetMap, so you visit this website, download.geofabric.de. This URL will provide you a cloud platform from where you can download directly the save file of your own country or your own region, or sometimes you can also download the complete save file of entire globe. It's a very interesting URL called GeoFabric Cloud of OpenStreet. Another repository is called NASA Socioeconomic Data and Application Center, or we call it just CDEC. So it shows human interaction with the environment, and CDEC has a wide variety of course, global free GIS data. Like they have the flagship data is the gridded population of the world. So if you are looking for the gridded population data, you can look for this repository. Global socioeconomic data comes from the 15 different themes, and the socioeconomic data include a range of topics such as agriculture, climate, and health. Basically, the demographic data you can download from this repository, and it's for entire country, around 180 countries data sets are available. Another interesting repository which is developed by Food and Agriculture, this FAO, which is an organization from United Nations. They are also providing a catalog or clearinghouse called GeoNetwork, which is another portal of free GIS data from the United Nations. The global agriculture, food, security, and fisheries are some of its key and free GIS data sets. So this particular organization, FAO, is providing a very, very rich data catalog for geospatial data. So you can search for data there, and then you can download this data, or also you can access the data as a web service like WMS, WFS, and WCS. Another important repository of the GIS data is Open Topography. It provides a portal to high spatial resolution topographic data and tools. In particular, it houses LIDAR data, which is unique feature of this website. But LIDAR data is not for entire world. For the limited areas like United States, Canada, Australia, Brazil, Haiti, Mexico, they have these data sets, basically around 90% of these regions. That's why I categorize it as a regional data repositories. But if LIDAR is unavailable, course the global DAM are available for download. So here, suppose as a student, you are trying to learn how to process the LIDAR data, how the LIDAR data looks like. So I thought that it will be useful for you. So that's why I included this repository into my presentation. From United Nations Environment Program, which is known as the UNEP, they have the UNEP Environmental Data Explorer as an authoritative source of UN data. It holds more than 500 variables such as freshwater, climate, and wealth. And themes include populations, forests, emissions, disaster, and GDP for spatial and non-spatial data. And these data sets you can download from this URL. And they have, of course, entire global coverage. NEO is another interesting data repository called NASA Earth Observations repository. It is like a real-time climate snapshot of the world. So if you are looking for climatic data in the near real-time mode, so sometimes some data is also available in real-time mode also as well. So NEO focuses on the 5 themes, which is around 50 plus global data sets, mostly climate-related data sets, and constant updates ensuring the timely climate information of our globe. So this is a very important aspect here because they update the data on regular interval. In fact, daily, at least whenever the observations are there, they immediately update the data into this repository, accessible in a variety of GIS format, and all raster grids are atmosphere, energy, land, life, ocean GIS data from this NASA Earth Observation repository. Terra Populus, again, a data repository which integrates census data from over 160 countries around the world. It snaps up its 6 decade for the household level and aggregate data for more than 80 countries as a micro and environment data and describing land cover, land use, and climate. Interesting repository where you can download this data into your system for your own studies. And of course, it's not a satellite data repository, but they have the good compilation of the GIS-based population data or demographic data. And maybe since it is a graded data, so maybe the house level information may not be there, but at least for the country, region, or maybe state level data will be available. Again, I have included ISRO Bhuvan. As per the GIS data is concerned, ISRO Bhuvan also is having a dedicated component called Bhuvan Thematic Services. So here what we do, basically we provide data on at least 7 themes under our Natural Resource Census Program, or we call it the NR Census Program. So these themes are basically available into our data repositories, and every 5 years we are updating the maps on 1:50,000 scale and maps on 1:250,000 scale every year, and some of the geological maps we are updating every 15 years. Depending on the theme and data type, the data updation policy is defined here. And 2004 onward, data for India is available here for access as a web service. And in fact, for the limited users, we also provide data as a physical download these map into the local computers. So very shortly, we are also coming with our new policy where these maps will be available in the open domain for data download also. This is a typical example of the Earth Explorer, how it gives the data. Now that's all about the repository. Now quickly we will see how they are giving the platforms for data download. But here time is very limited, so we cannot demonstrate you each and every repository here. But you can explore it at your end, and you can see how things are available for download. It's very user-friendly platforms. You know that this site you can search for the satellites, and this site you can search for the data, and these data sets are available from the different missions. And you can search by location, by city name. You can search by lat long, or maybe your extent you can draw here, and then it will list out what are the data sets available. And you can create your account here. And in fact, you can download the data directly. Otherwise, if data is not there, you can also place a order here. So order doesn't mean every time you have to pay, but sometimes orders are also being executed without any cost. But only thing is, if it is a very old repository, so maybe system will be generating data based on your requests and serving you in the after 1 or 2 hours or maybe 1 day. So this kind of feature also is available. About ISRO Bhuvan, already I discussed about it. This is our homepage where you can see there are many components in this website. You can visit here. So 2D, 3D data archive. These are the components from where you can download the data called Open Data Archive. So other component like thematic services, I was talking about the GIS data repositories. These are also available. But at the same time here, data is available as a web service or as a API. But here data is available as a web service and data download or physical data download also. So this is about Bhuvan. So if you are interested to see what kind of data basically this repository is giving to the public, is like a resource set 1 AWIPS data, list 3 data, list 4 Cartosat 1 and 2 pen merge data, Ocean set 1 and 2 OCM data. Then similarly we have the data from the Open Data Archive. When I say it is on the resource set 1 AWIPS ortho data, it's ortho rectified data, very important because we have corrected with respect to terrain height and available as an ortho product from the AWIPS sensor and list 3 data. So when you do the ortho rectified product means you have the better accuracy here. That much you should make a note here. And then we have the IMS1 HIC Carto Dam. This is digital elevation model also is available here and from this portal. Ocean set 2 data, OCM2 we called it, NDVI, vegetation fractions, albedo, tropical cyclone, heat potential, ocean heat contents, and all these data sets. So I will not read each and every thing here because slides will be available to you in the LMS and also under the study material of the E-class. So you can refer here what kind of data sets these repositories are giving you. Then come to the next. These are the thematic. As I told you, we have a program called Natural Resource Program, or we call it the NR Census Program. Under this program, basically, we are doing the mapping for 7 major themes. But in addition to that, we also execute many government programs or projects under this by National Remote Sensing Center of Hyderabad. This is center of ISRO. So all these maps like land use, land cover, 1:50,000 scale. We started this journey from 2005-06 onward, and every 5 years we update it. Then 11-12, then 15-16 also data. Now this way, every 5 years we are updating it. Urban land use 1:10,000 scale is available, although right now it's available only for selected town or cities. Wasteland map on 1:50,000 scale from 2008-09 onward. Geomorphological map on 50,000 scale, 2005-06, and lineament map on 1:50,000 scale. Soil erosion, salt affected and waterlogged areas, urban sprawls, water bodies, flood annual layers, flood hazard zonation, and so on. These are the few things which are basically listed here. But if you see the total number right now, this data repository is giving you more than 2,000 map layers in the public domain. This is a very interesting data repository, and I will say the portal from ISRO. We call it a visualization of Earth observation data and archival system, or VEDAS. This is hosted at Space Application Center, Ahmedabad in India. It is an online geoprocessing platform using optical, microwave, thermal, and hyperspectral Earth observation data, covering applications particularly made for the academia, research, and problem solving. This is basically a very interesting repository or geoportal developed by ISRO for the students and researchers. And you can get data, of course, through this portal, but they have the very interesting tools. By using these tools on the fly, you can do a lot of scientific analysis on this top of this data, and you can download the output to the local computer. And I have listed few of the applications, but these are not limited. There are many more such applications, and in fact, our team in ISRO is continuously trying to develop a cloud-based infrastructure for on-the-fly data processing and analysis, including for the disasters. So in fact, during any disaster time period, you can log into our VEDAS portal, and you can go to your country, and if something is available through International Charter or some other space agencies worldwide, like a digital globe, what I was talking about it. So same data you can access in this VEDAS in the real-time mode, and you can do the lot of mapping activities like inundation mapping on the optical data, or inundation mapping on the hyperspectral or microwave data. It's very interesting. Without having any GIS software itself, you can do all this experiment on the fly in this website. This is another repository from ISRO. We call it the MOSDEC, and it is basically meteorological and oceanographic related data archive. Here, what we do, we provide near real-time data from our INSAT series of satellite, especially in the geostationary orbit, and whatever observations, especially the cloud cover from the INSAT 3D and 3DR satellite, OSCAT satellite, Megatropic, Sarar Altica, all these data set from the Kalpana 1 earlier, we provide data continuously, and it's freely available. You can join here as a global products, what we provide here, and a very interesting repository for the scientists or researchers. Those are basically doing the research and in the meteorology and ocean science. This is for our, again, Indian students. This is for Data Portal of India. Government of India also is trying to do some very, very important initiative here. Basically, data from the different data providers or stakeholders in the country, they have integrated into a single platform and available as a data portal to the country. Here, not only the satellite imageries, not only the maps, but other kind of data as well is available here. So you please visit this website, search for your required data sets, and you can directly download, or you can have access through web services or API through this Data Portal of India. So now other coming slides are just explanation of my the table what I have discussed, but quickly I will run through it. This is called National Climate Data Centers, called NCDC, again from US. Land-based stations, satellite data sets are available here. They provide the radar model output, or that is called derived data, model derived data, weather balloon data, because not necessarily every time data from the satellite, but also here the balloon data also is available from these repositories. This is for climate change related studies. Global inventory modeling and mapping studies, again, is a very interesting portal. Here for the research purpose, you can download Giovanni interactive visualization analysis system. Here it's basically again for the climate change studies, you can get data from this. This is again continuation of my slide. These are the different formats or data services. It include the data in the net CDF, which is output of some models like WRF kind of model outputs are also available. So you can access the data as OGC services as well, and directly you can use the SGF and net CDF and all formats. These are another repository, may not be useful right now because these are related to climate studies. So that's all from my side today. I hope this introductory session on the online geodata repository will be useful for you. And because we have included this session in the beginning of the first module itself, because we feel that the students, because you are sitting in the remote areas, you don't know from where to get this data, how to download this data. So that's why this introduction was given here. So thank you very much for your interest and joining this session. I hope session will be useful for you. Thank you. Now, if you have any questions, you can post and I will try to take your questions, and let us start the discussion now. Please post your question, or otherwise the iTech or e-iTech students, they can also join in the audio and video mode as well.